be a little ugly to begin with, but I want to just get the mechanic in. So we jump into our clock scene, and let's just set some sort of size here. I'm going to just do like a 50 by 50. In fact, it probably should be a multiple of 8, so I'm just going to make it 64 by 64. Alright, so then what we do is we open up these textures and we say that the under texture is going to be the background, and the progress is going to be progress. Okay, so between it's going to be max of 30, and we're going to set the value to 30 to begin with, and I'm going to stretch that. Okay, so as this clock goes down, it's slowly going to decrease like that in a clock-like fashion. So we'll start off at 30, right? Okay, and then what we can do is we can jump into our game and maybe put our clock in this screen split. In fact, it might be better to put it inside the score. I'm not too sure. Okay, so let's delete this node. That's one good thing about saving it as a scene. We can now delete it. We can jump into the score scene and actually just add our clock in here. And we need to put a size flag here to expand. And yeah, maybe having the expand is not actually that good. I mean, we could just give it a flat size. Oh, I know what to do. Why don't we put the clock where the player's shoot button is going to be in the controls, right? So here we can grab our clock and put it over the top. Oh my god, over the top of our shoot button, and expand, and we'll do a full rect. Okay. So now, essentially, that's a clock texture that is going to slowly wind down with time and unlock the shoot button, right, for phase 2. Okay. So for our controls, we can hook this button up, and in fact, let's just have a look at our game state timer. Phase timer. Okay. So our signals, we've got our timeout signal. I guess what we want to actually do is set this to 1, auto start, right? And we'll just let the timer tick the game state, and the game state can keep track of how many seconds are in each phase. Okay, so there we go. So now if we go to our game state, instead of saying phase ended, we're going to say tick, right? And let's just say the bar seconds left in phase is equal to phase 1 length, phase 1 seconds, right? And that can be a const. And right now that's going to be 30 seconds. And so every time we get that signal from the timer, we can just decrement our seconds left in phase by 1. And we can say if seconds left in phase is equal to 0, next phase, otherwise and then we can implement our next phase. Okay. We can say elif seconds left in phase is greater than 0, decrement. Okay, and then next phase, I think we can just say the seconds left in phase is equal to -1 for now. So we stop that timer ticking down. And we're going to say well, we don't really know just yet, but we're going to start phase 2 at some point. I'll put it to do, so we know that there's something else that happens here. Okay, so if we decrement, we also want to emit a signal, and we'll just call it timer update, right? With the current seconds left. Okay, now we're going to need to define that signal up top. So we'll say signal timer update and with a seconds value, right? Cool. So that's essentially our game state sorted, emitting a regular signal. And now we need to figure out how to connect our controls to the game state. So when we are thinking about connecting a signal, we want to move upwards through the tree to find the first common parent, right? So our controls is it control? Yeah, this is our control split, right? These are our timers. So they're inside this node, so we're always going to have to go up to our first common parent, which is the game node, and figure out from there. And that's fine, that's actually really easy. We've already got the controls as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this line here, and we're going to connect the timer update signal to our controls P1. And we're going to just say on phase timer update. And we'll do the same thing for the player 2 controls, because they've each got their own little clock there. And we might want to bring this phase timer up under here to show that these are all related. And in fact, this is related to victory. Okay. So we're now telling this controls about every update of the timers. And so we can jump into our controls, code, and implement our handlers. So we got that, and we're going to get seconds here. And I'm just going to pass for now. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to make sure we have a reference to that timer node, the progress node. We jump into our controls. That would be the vertical split S clock, right? So what we do is we just copy this, and we'll call this clock, and this can be clock, right? So we now have a reference to our clock, and in our handler we're going to say clock.value equals seconds. Fantastic. And we say if seconds is greater than 0, right? Otherwise, we can say clock dot I guess. I guess here we can say clock.show just to be useful, just in case. It's not going to be like a big performance hit because it's happening every second only. So, okay, we only got one tick. So I think what we need to do is we need to also plug in our restart. So inside our game, over here, so we also want to connect our timeout to ourselves, right? And what we'll do is we will just plonk. In fact, it feels odd that I'm pretty sure there was supposed to be a repeat. Oh, yeah, we turn off one shot. That's fine. Okay, we don't need to do that. Okay, so we can take off that there. And what are you complaining about? It turns value, but really. Okay then. For underscore R. Right. Sweet. So now our clock is slowly going to decrement, and it's not pretty. It's really not pretty.